Hello, everybody. Welcome to another weekly market update, Thanksgiving version. We have a short market today, so actually been a really quiet week, but it's on top of a good week the week before and the week before that. So we're putting together a string of pretty darn good weeks. So I hope you're having a great week and I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with the people that are important to you. And here we go. Let's talk about the markets real quick. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time because you've got people to be with and that kind of stuff. So right here, we have 4 green lights. We are making, since we called the green about, it was almost 3 weeks ago now, we are making our way up to the 16,100 level with that lightning bolt pattern, ABCD pattern, some people call it. It's shaping up to be exactly what I figured it would be. And every once in a while, I get them right, you know. Not that that matters, because it doesn't matter if you're right. It matters if you make money in the market. That's the main thing. And we're all about cash flow. Hopefully you're making money in the market. We got a green market, and hopefully you listened when things went green. But if not, hopefully you're making some money. Okay, the NASDAQ, beautiful check mark pattern off a triple bottom, which you don't see very often, but came off the triple bottom at the 200 and then went above the 50. It made a gap up. So I suspect in the next couple of weeks, we're going to fill that gap. And you know, we're going to probably consolidate here, but it is at the 14,446 highs is what it wants to get to. It beat up the 14,149 highs. We'll see if it can hold it, and even did it on pretty low volume this week, which means it probably won't hold it, but we'll see. We've got a green market, so you never know. Momentum carries things higher. The S&P 500 is pushing for that 4607 level. It's at 4555, so it's got another 100 points to go. Not too much work, but it's beating up a 4641 swing point. That's kind of nice too. Dow Jones, pretty good. Couple of gaps up on the chart, and also doing really well. It's actually very strong. So the Dow is doing well and heading for that all-time high at 35,679. And then the New York Stock Exchange is the worst of all of them, but it is coming off the bottom as well. And there it is, coming up to that 16,100. It's not an all-time high, but at that 16,152, that's a resistance point that it needs to get through. I don't think it's going to get through it, frankly, but it needs a lot of help from the rest of the market, but we'll see. The volatility, look at that, just come right down in the last 3 weeks, just fall right off the chart. And when volatility goes down, that means money is going back into the market. People are not scared. So that's good. The Dow Jones Transports right off the bottom at 13,471, all the way up to 15,000 just in a couple of weeks. Couple of gap ups, and I suspect going into the Christmas season, people are moving goods around the world and the markets and the economies, and things are moving around. People are buying stuff, and people are buying more expensive stuff because we got inflation. I want to point out some Bitcoin. Bitcoin's hitting an all-time high, at least for this year. It's at 37.7 when I last checked it today. And the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is not a great indicator, but it is an indicator of Bitcoin. They hold a lot of locked up Bitcoin in a trust, and it's not really liquid. So it's been undervalued for a while, and now it's shooting up in value. There's a couple gaps up on that chart, but it is kind of showing you, hey, there's some love here in the Bitcoin world, and especially as they start cranking up these printers to pay off our interest on our debt, which is at all-time highs. So that's going to be interesting. And let's just take a look at Apple. Apple had numbers a couple weeks ago, had dividends a couple weeks ago, and it made a nice little check mark pattern off the 200, off the 50. It's come up here pretty quickly, so I have a feeling it's going to pull back and just kind of stay here for a bit until it makes that run for 198 through 200. Once it gets to 200, I think it goes to 220. We'll see what happens. We need a lot of support from the market to get there. And then Tesla is not a good pattern, but it is in a long consolidation, I believe now. It's a downward-facing consolidation. But if it could break through this 250 level to get to the 268 level, then to the 278 level, you know, it's got a lot of work that it needs to do. Eventually, it's going to get to that 299 level. Now, Tesla has a Cybertruck announcement event coming out next week. And what that means is they're going to be coming up. There's like 2 million Cybertrucks on back order at Tesla. That's a lot of revenue that's pent up, right? That's revenue that should go onto the company, but it hasn't been accrued yet. And so when they announce the pricing, you'll be able to kind of get a better idea of what kind of revenue they should be expecting. Now, not all 2 million people are going to get their Cybertruck, right? You're going to get some cancellations on that because frankly, a truck that's probably going to end up coming out between $59,000 and $89,000 is a lot of money for anybody, especially in this kind of economy where people are kind of stretched to the limit, and you're not going to want to spend that kind of money on a truck. That being said, it's a pretty cool truck, and its operating costs are going to be a little bit, or maybe a lot less than your typical ICE vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles, ICE. So Tesla is doing interestingly well, but it needs some work to get it. So it's right at its 50. It needs some work to get up to that 299 level. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's got some work. Okay, last one I'll talk about is Nvidia. Nvidia had numbers this week, really good numbers. Earnings per share were just kind of off the charts, and the stock went up to 502, and now it's pulled back $20 or so on that. Not the end of the world, but with a run from 392 to 502, you got to expect that there's going to be some selling when those numbers are posted, and they were posted pretty well. I mean, people love Nvidia, and there's a lot of reason to love it. So listen, enough from me. I hope you had a fantastic week, and I hope you have an even better weekend. And spend the time with the people that are in town or that you're in town to see. Make sure you're having a great time. And hopefully I'll see you next week on the next weekly stock market update. Take care, everybody. Thanks for being here. Bye.